Where are the Chelsea fans at? I know that as you watch this clip, that euphoric feeling must still be completely intact. There's truly nothing better than convincingly defeating Barcelona and getting to watch our young man, Estevao, play such breathtaking, captivating football. I have seen countless football prodigies who have shaken the world before. But this 18-year-old boy has all the makings, all the promises, to truly step onto the highest podium in world football. The ball rolls to Estevao's feet on the right flank. It's only a few brief seconds, but it's enough for the football world to realize that a new name has once again left its mark on the greatest stage. A decisive, mesmerizing dribble, followed by an instinctive, sweet touch on the ball. A shot fired with cannon-like force into the top corner of the Barcelona net. It was all packaged in one single moment, yet it carried the weight of a powerful declaration. Chelsea has a new star. And the football world has just had its eyes strongly pulled toward that talented young man everyone knows by the intriguing nickname, Messinho. The win against Barcelona served as a perfect poster for the Estevao brand. It wasn't just a beautiful goal, it was a goal born of circumstance. The opponent was Barcelona, the name synonymous with Messi's legacy. The tournament was the Champions League, a stage where only players of true mettle and guts can survive. The pressure came from the eyes of the entire world, focused on the showdown between two new football prodigies, Lamine Yamal on the other side of the pitch, and Estevao in the blue shirt of Chelsea. In that context, the 18-year-old boy received the ball as calmly as if he were just playing a casual game near his home, then unleashed a strike that left every defender simply watching. That is no longer a matter of pure technique, it's a matter of aura and character. Seeing that moment, people suddenly understood that the nickname, Messinho, is not just a joke derived from some random highlight reels online, but is slowly transforming into a serious narrative. The football world is about to have another name living in the rarefied air of superstardom. The victory against Barcelona was a peak moment, but it didn't appear out of thin air. It was the result of a long period where Estevao arrived at Chelsea with the demeanor of someone who had no intention of gradually settling in. Other young players often arrive in Europe with a sense of shyness, mixed between excitement and fear. Estevao, however, seems to have had the script written for him since the day he signed his contract with Chelsea. The general feeling is that the club didn't just buy a young talent, but was betting on a future they believed they had to possess before it was too late. His first matches in the Premier League are always an unforgiving test. This is not an environment for players who only know how to execute beautiful, delicate moves. This is a place where a move that is half a beat too slow is enough to receive a tackle from behind, and where raw muscular strength is sometimes more important than technique. Estevao plunged into it without needing time to test the temperature. He doesn't shy away from contact, nor is he afraid to hold the ball with his back to a hulking defender. What's frightening is that he does all of this with the natural ease of someone who has been playing here for years. Then came the day against Liverpool. One of those moments that defines the reputation of any young player. The match was intense, taut as a wire, and time was slowly winding down. Everyone's legs were heavy, and everyone's minds were muddled. In that context, the coach looked towards the bench and decided to bring Estevao onto the pitch. This was not just a tactical decision, it was an affirmation. He didn't come to Chelsea to sit out the big moments. And then, in the final seconds of the game, the ball found Estevao's feet inside the penalty area. One clean, swift strike, the ball nestled into the back of the net, and the stadium exploded. His first goal against an opponent like Liverpool, and it was the winning goal scored in stoppage time. It was perhaps the most ruthless debut a young player could deliver to the Premier League. After Liverpool came Ajax, then Barcelona, and then a series of matches where Estevao consistently left his mark. It's as if he is carefully marking each chapter in his own career book. Not every match featured a super goal, but in every match, people saw his presence in the critical moments. A successful dribble that opens up space, a cutting pass that splits the defense and midfield, a shot that forces the goalkeeper to fully stretch. Estevao doesn't just score, he creates the feeling that whenever the ball is at his feet, something extraordinary is about to happen. What truly frightens people is not just his technique. The football world has seen countless young players who are great at dribbling, good at free kicks, and capable of stunning long-range shots. What makes Estevao more formidable is the way he views the game. In his touches, there is always the sense that everything has been pre-calculated one step ahead of everyone else. He doesn't dribble just for the sake of dribbling, but to pull the defender out of position. He doesn't shoot on a sudden whim, but because he understands that being a single beat slower would result in the shot being blocked. That kind of instinct is either something you are born with, or something you will never learn. The stories of the terrifying rise of Estevao are not confined just to London. To fully grasp the madness surrounding this young man, we must bring another jersey color into the picture, the yellow and green of the Brazilian national team. Some players only shine at the club level and disappear when they step onto the national stage. Others are the opposite. Estevao seems to belong to that rare group who carries both his identity and his form everywhere he goes. They didn't call him up just for an experiment. They saw in him what Brazilians always revere: spontaneity anchored in sheer guts while wearing the yellow shirt. When the national anthem played, Estevao's eyes showed no sign of panic. It was the look of someone who understood that he was standing on the path where so many legends have walked. Then came his first goal for the national team, scored with an elegant bicycle kick. That wasn't the simple, safe finish often chosen by newcomers to avoid mistakes. It was a declaration, the confidence to leap into the air and attempt an overhead kick amidst the opponent's defense. In a jersey where every move is compared to names like Romario, Ronaldo, or Ronaldinho, the ball sailed over the goalkeeper and nestled into the net. Brazilians instantly understood that they had just welcomed another fearless risk-taker of the kind they love most. Not stopping there, Estevao quickly became one of the youngest players to score for Brazil in the modern era. The name Pelé was immediately invoked as a point of reference. Of course, direct comparison with a legend is something no one should make lightly. But the mere fact that one has to use Pelé to describe the prematurity of his achievement says a lot. That is a kind of pressure that very few players can handle. Yet, with Estevao, there is the feeling that he treats it as a natural part of life. As if he has been used to people placing colossal expectations on him since childhood. Since his debut for Brazil, he has seemingly scored in every match he's played. This seemingly impossible feat is happening in the real world with this 18-year-old boy. Placing Estevao between the two worlds of Brazil and Chelsea, one realizes a fascinating truth: he does not transform into two different people when changing environments. There is no change where he holds the ball more for the club and becomes a supportive runner for the national team. Or vice versa. In both jerseys, he maintains the exact same essence, still bold, still delivering decisive touches, still willing to take responsibility in moments many others would shy away from. That is the common thread among all the great football stars. They don't need to be favored to shine. They create the light around themselves. The sheer terror of Estevao lies not just in his skill and his achievements, but in how he compels the entire world to talk about him despite his young age. Football watchers have a hard-to-break habit. It is increasingly difficult to believe the hype about genius players because they have seen too many young talents flash and disappear. But with Estevao, those skeptical eyes are slowly turning into eyes of anticipation, waiting to see how high he will reach. Not waiting to see how he will fail. Off the pitch, he remains a young man with a kind smile and eyes that are somewhat shy in front of the camera. But it is this contrast between his everyday image and the version of him on the field that is so captivating. You see a young kid, and moments later, he transforms into a nightmare for seasoned defenders. That is the kind of transformation the game always needs, reminding everyone that behind every celebrated name is a person learning to balance an ordinary life with the weight of colossal expectations. Estevao's future still has a long road ahead with countless turns. There will be days when everything doesn't flow as smoothly as it does now. There will be injuries, losses, and periods of poor form. Every great player must pass through such cold winters. But if you look at how he arrived in London and made everyone fall in love with him, you understand just how far this young man will go. He is like the sequel that the football world has been waiting for after the chapters of Messi and Ronaldo, not to replace them, but to continue that spine-tingling feeling whenever a genius touches the ball. The whole world wants to see him like this for the next 10, 15, or even 20 years.